afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Federal Youth Network Departmental Showcase. Bienvenue au Ministère sous les projecteurs présenté pour le réseau des jeunes fonctionnaires fédéraux. I would like to begin by acknowledging that I'm here on the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. The Mi'kmaq have lived here on this land since time immemorial, and I encourage all of you to acknowledge the land that you're on as well. Certains d'entre vous sont peut-être de diverses régions du pays, et je vous encourage donc à prendre un moment pour reconnaître le territoire où vous occupez. Feedback from students and new public servants has highlighted an interest in learning more about the inner workings of each department and agency. To support public service renewal, recruitment, and retention, the Federal Youth Network is offering this series featuring select organizations where they can address perceptions about their departments and agencies, highlight the important work that they do, and share with potential employees what a typical role looks like in that organization. This summer, we're showcasing different departments each week, and today we'll be welcoming the Canada Revenue Agency that all of us refer to as CRA. As we move through today's session, please share your comments with each other and with us using the chat space in the language of your choice. You can use the Q&A button in the language of your choice again to ask any questions to the panelists. You can also upvote questions that are already there by clicking on the thumbs up button. Au fur et à mesure que nous progressons dans la session aujourd'hui, veuillez partager vos questions en utilisant le bouton questions et réponses, Q&A, dans la langue de votre choix. Vous pouvez aussi voter sur les questions que vous voulez poser en cliquant sur le button thumbs up. This session is bilingual and not everything will be repeated in both official languages. SI won't be offered during this session, so feel free to ask any clarifying questions in the chat or in the Q&A. La session va être enregistrée aussi et le lien sera disponible dès demain. The link for today's recording will be available as soon as tomorrow if there's anything that you would like to review. Alors, pour y commencer, je vais lancer la parole à CRA. Take it away, CRA.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. So hello, everyone, and welcome to this iteration of the Federal Youth Network Departmental Showcase. We're excited to have you here with us today to talk to you about the Canada Revenue Agency, who we are, what we do, and what are some of the job opportunities we offer. My name is Nadia Malik. I'm currently an acting HR manager at the CRA's HR branch and also your English host for today's event. This event is bilingual and will be presented in both official languages with the help of my co-host Juliana Much. Please feel free to speak in the official language of your choice. Juliana?
Merci et bonjour à tous et bienvenue à cette édition de la série Ministère sous les projecteurs du réseau des jeunes fonctionnaires fédéraux. Nous sommes très heureux de vous compter parmi nous aujourd'hui pour vous parler de l'Agence du revenu du Canada, aussi connue comme l'ARC. Qui nous sommes, ce que nous faisons et les opportunités de travail que nous offrons. Je m'appelle Juliana Match, je suis analyste subalterne de politique à la Direction générale du service de l'innovation et de l'intégration de l'ARC. Cet événement est bilingue et sera présenté dans les deux langues officielles avec l'aide de ma co-animatrice Nadia Malek. Ne vous gênez donc pas à poser vos questions dans la langue officielle de votre choix. Throwing it back to you, Nadia.
Great. At this time, I would like to acknowledge that I live on the traditional territories of the Samiamu, Ketwell-Tilam, Kwantlen, Kaiket, and Tsawwassen First Nations, given that we're meeting virtually. I also want to acknowledge the lands on which you are gathered, you are finding yourself gathered from coast to coast, and invite you to take a moment to have a thought for the territory in which you find yourself.
Je voudrais commencer par reconnaître que je me trouve en Mi'kmaqui, le territoire ancestral et non cédé du peuple Mi'kmaq. Étant donné que nous nous rencontrons virtuellement, je voudrais également reconnaître les terres sur lesquelles vous êtes rassemblés d'un océan à l'autre et vous inviter à prendre un moment de silence pour avoir une pensée pour le territoire sur lequel vous vous trouvez.
We appear to have a lot of attendees joining us today. That's fantastic. We also have with us three amazing panelists that I will be introducing to you in a little bit. I would like to kick things off by telling you a little bit about myself first. So I started with the agency as a CRA student through the FSWEP program, which some of you might be familiar with. And upon graduation from university with a bachelor's degree in poli-sci, I was permanently bridged into one of our programs within the call center as a call center agent. I never thought I'd stay with the agency. I thought it was going to be a short stint, just coming in and leaving as a student program. But I managed to stay there and had the opportunity to take on more challenging roles over the course of my career, and eventually made my way to the HR management team. And right now, that's what I'm doing. And I've loved it so much that I actually invested in the CPHR designation, which CRA graciously supported me in the payment of it. And I'm an alumni of the CPHR. And my journey here has been about more than 15 years now. And each year has been more interesting every year. I have made some long-term friends from work, and enjoy the most about the CRA is its culture. It really fosters talent and diversity, and you'll see that with our panelists and just myself here. Now, Juliana, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oui, merci Nadia. Effectivement, il semblerait que nous ayons de nombreux participants qui se soient joints à nous aujourd'hui. C'est fantastique. Donc, un petit peu à propos de moi-même. Donc, je suis à l'ARC depuis 2020 en tant qu'analyste. Auparavant, j'étais enseignante dans l'Est du Canada. Je suis à Moncton maintenant. Puis, j'ai décidé de retourner à l'école pour obtenir une maîtrise en fonction publique. Tout au long de ma maîtrise, j'ai pu travailler pour 3 ministères du gouvernement fédéral avant de me rejoindre à l'ARC. J'ai toujours aimé occuper des postes de direction et de servir les autres. Alors, rejoindre le RGP était un choix naturel. J'ai toujours aimé occuper des postes de direction et servir. À partir du mois prochain, je serai la présidente nationale du RGP de l'ARC, ce dont je suis très reconnaissante et enthousiaste. J'adore mes collègues à l'ARC. Tout le monde est très, très gentil, passionné et travaille fort. Il y a plusieurs opportunités à l'ARC et aussi ce que j'adore le plus, je crois, c'est tout mon travail avec le RGP. C'est très dynamique et il y a beaucoup d'opportunités. Maintenant, je vais passer la parole à Nadia. I'll pass it back to you, Nadia.
Great. Thanks, Juliana. Before we go to our panelists, I'd like to give you an overview of the CRA, who we are, and what we do. Majority of you might, when you think of CRA, you're probably thinking of the tax man, which is fair because that's what a lot of people associate the CRA with. But we are much more than that. As you can see in the top, of course, we are the Minister of National Revenue, and we have the taxpayers ombudsperson, the commissioner, the chief executive officer, and the board of management. And then, as you can see, we've broken it down to let you know what are the different regions. So we are actually a national service orientation. So we service the entire country, and we service the Atlantic, Quebec, Ontario, and the Western region. I'm sure you're all finding yourself as part of one of those regions. The CRA goes above and beyond, like I said, about taxes. We have so many different branches and programs that we work with. We have the appeals, we have what we call the ABSB, which is the assessment, benefits, and services. Collections and verification, that's where the collections happen, and the verification of documentation. We have the compliance program. And then last but not least, we have the legislative, policy, and regulatory affairs branch. Now, furthermore, we have the corporate branches. And I'm going to go a little bit over some of them, not all of them, but I'll go over a few of them. For example, the CPB, which is a compliance programs branch, their mandate is to protect the integrity and fairness of the tax system, the Canadian tax system. They provide information, education, and support to help taxpayers seeking to comply. It seeks to lead with service-oriented approach, including timeliness, transparency, and technical accuracy. The Human Resource Branch, its mission is to provide HR advice, services, and stewardship that supports the agency in achieving its business priorities. A lot like the organizations that you're currently probably associated with, HRB has its staffing team. Currently, I'm part of the national dedicated staffing team that we have within the Ontario region. It has the workplace relations, which is the labor relations team. It has EAP, ICR. It has the corporate offices. It has executive staffing. It has the organ classification. It goes beyond. And ITB, which is the information technology branch, It operates and maintains, develops, and evolves the CRA's information technology at the core of Canada's taxes and benefit administration. They also provide computing and corporate IT solutions to Canada Border Service Agency as well. You can see how important they would be for a large organization as ourselves to have an IT branch. As such, we also have something called a security branch, which is even more important as to the work that we do to protect the taxpayer information and the CRA's people and asset as well. The security branch ensures the security matters are considered at the beginning, the middle, and the end of every major program, strategy, or initiative at the CRA. They aim by centralizing the management of all of the CRA's security functions. You can see on the left-hand side, we have reiterated the CRA occupational group. Those are some of the groups that the CRA is currently staffing. That's what we staff in. Some of the SP, which is service and programs, the audit, financial, and scientific. Some of the predominantly popular ones are the AU positions that you may have heard, the AU1s to AU4s and above. You also have heard of the IT potentially, which is the CS groups. And you will hear some of our panelists that are associated with some of those areas as well. And we have our management. The management positions are MG positions, and the executive positions are where the EX level. So we have our senior management team and the executive cadre part of that. And of course, where I'm from, the human resource branch, which is predominantly HR positions. I mean, it's not just limited to these positions. I'm just giving you an overview. So one of the things that I'm hoping that it stands out, that CRA is not just about taxes. We're a lot more than that. And it's an agency that's comprised of diversity, employees from all backgrounds and all walk of life. Like, for example, I come from a very diverse background, and you will find and you will see some of our panelists and a lot other employees in the organization that are pretty diverse as well. And that's something we foster within the agency. People first philosophy is huge. It's a big component of what we do on our daily lives, the way we lead internally and the way we lead externally towards our taxpayers. So I'm hoping that some of that has resonated with you as to what the agency is all about. Now let's turn to our panelists. Today, we have with us 3 amazing CRA employees who will talk to us about their career journey at the CRA. Here with us today, we have Sham Shukla, Purna Gura, and Mamadou Bakayoko. I'm going to start with Sham. Can you please tell us what drew you to CRA?
Hi, Nadia. Thanks so much for the great. Similar to you, I started as a FSWEP student in Sudbury, Ontario. I started in ABSB doing adjustments. I would spend most of my days adjusting folks' tax returns to include disability tax credit amounts. And eventually, once I finished my education, I got an opportunity to move into the IT branch and worked in user access management. So this would be any sort of shared drive access, any access requiring anyone who needed access to our systems had to pretty much go through my section in order to get that. It's been a long journey, but today I'm a proud CS2 with the Cloud Center of Excellence. We are working on what I believe to be the most groundbreaking project in the government today, and that is to move CRA business enterprise workloads to the cloud. It sounds pretty simple, just like, oh, take it from here, put it over here, but not really the case. Similar to a pilot in a cockpit, you have to know what every single switch and toggle does. You have to know what is considered secure and what isn't. And at the same time, you have to assist clients in getting the support, education, and training that they need in order to succeed at at their work. All of that being said, this wasn't exactly my dream job 5 years ago when I started at the CRA. I very much applied to the position in ABSB as kind of a joke and didn't really expect much to happen as a result of my application. And it turned into a career. I would once again like to echo your thoughts on the people that you work with. I have never had any issues with any CRA employees, and I think that I consider myself extremely fortunate to belong to a government agency that values their employees so much. Throughout my time here, ITB, well, the IT branch and CRA as a whole has thoroughly supported me in gaining certifications from cloud providers and supporting my personal ambition to gain more experience in the space. But also, they help you to advance in a responsible manner. And I think that is truly what is very special about the CRA, is there's opportunity absolutely everywhere. All you have to do is walk up and ask for it. That's me. What do you think, Mamadou? Does your experience kind of match mine, or not at all?
Well, Shem, we've been working at the agency long enough to know that our experiences and how we ended up staying at the CRA are very, very different. I joined the agency myself in 2011. Prior to joining the agency, I was a hotel manager, working different cities in different provinces of Canada. And then you started to think of something that would give you work-life balance. And as I was talking to a friend of mine, and his first choice was the CRA. So my first question to him was, or the first thing that I remember saying was, I've actually never done my tax return myself. Is it something that I can do? Oh, I heard it's all accountants. You have to be an accountant to work at the CRA. Turns out, no. So when I joined, I started at the call center. Think about it. Never done my own tax return before. We were taught every single thing that we know today to serve Canadians and to be online. And what drew me to the agency was, after I joined, was actually being able, like Nadia mentioned, doing things that affect Canadian day-to-day life. When you jump on a call in the morning and you have a mother of four telling you, if I don't receive my child tax in next week, I might be out of a place to live. Then you get things accelerating and you hope to help that mother of four to get a tax return. The other thing that I've noticed at the agency also, we have about 50,000 employees. And I think Nadia went over the different areas that we have. It's really hard to get bored at the CRA. And I have had about 5 different areas. Not because I would love to go from one area to the other, but because at some point I wanted change and I wanted growth. You have that at CRA. I started at a Toronto center, call center. I work in at Scarborough after, and I asked to be moved at an office in British Columbia. So right now I'm coming to you, talking to you from Kelowna, BC. And that's the other thing that drew me to the agency. It's a work-life balance, because I wanted to move my family close to family here in BC. I requested a lateral move, and they happened to have a need, and that happened. I'm not saying that, you just have to go and ask for it and you move. Obviously, they have to be some sort of business need, but to be able to actually do that, transfer, because I needed support from family and move down here in BC, that is huge for me. So moving around, a work-life balance, and also I think you all said the same thing, the friends that we made along the way. And actually, clearly stating that you don't need to have to be a CPA or a CA to join the agency. There's so many other sides to the CRA, so many other work out that you can do when you join. So that's why I ended up staying. And then, I'm going to ask Brenna. She's here. What do you think, Brenna? Why did you end up staying at the agency? What drew you here at the agency?
So hello, everybody. My name is Prerna. Wow. Okay. Coming to CRA. So I'll start with that. I have a bachelor's in health sciences. Throughout my education process, I was aiming for med school, never had CRA occurred to my mind as, oh, I would like to work there. I was, throughout my high school and university, I was working at Staples, stayed there for 9 years. And after that, when my education was done, I got my bachelor's, I'm done. Med school is nowhere near where I would like to be. So I'm looking for something new. And then a friend of mine goes, well, there's a job opening at CRA. Okay, I'll apply. So I applied as a fluke, to be very honest. I'm not going to get it. I don't have any tax experience. I don't have any accounting experience. This is the mindset that I have. This is what I'm going with. Okay, fine. I did the application, got called for an assessment, wrote the assessment. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but here I am writing the assessment. So I wrote it. Now I get a phone call. And I get a phone call. This is a funny story as well. The day of my convocation, I was in my gown and everything, all from CRA, hey, we needed, are you like, what's your social insurance number? Because we have a job for you. Like, so here I am running back to so I broke the line. I'm running back to my mom. What's my social insurance number? So anyhow, that's how I got the job. And I started in 2016 in collections, no idea what I'm doing, obviously, when I come into it. I have a bachelor's of health science degree with a psychology minor. I don't know what I'm doing. So I come into collections. I stayed there for 4 years, met some new people, met some nice people. Some not so nice. See, I'm very transparent and I'm very I like to tell you this is how it is. I don't run around the brush. Did I have some bad experiences? Yes, I did. Did I have some good experiences? Of course I did. But I'm the kind of person who likes to learn. So after 4 years, I got my TA, technical advisor experience. I got my TL experience. Okay, I need something new. So at the same time, I was also involved with, the Young Professionals Network. So I got to know about all these branches because I didn't know anything about CRA. CRA didn't exist for me, I didn't do my taxes, my mom did. So, got to know, okay, this is what the agency does. This is what it is. So I was like, oh, okay. Then I started applying into jobs because obviously I wanted something new. I got into public affairs branch as a webmaster. Do I know anything about HTML? Maybe a little bit, but then nothing, all I can do is, okay, yep, this is a URL, H2 headings and all that. Fine, I can do that. I got to learn all that stuff. I got to learn a new language. It was a new language, public affairs branch, right? So I did that for about a year. I updated the intranet. So InfoZone, that's what we call. And then I got an opportunity for HR. And do I have any HR experience? No. Do I have any education background? No. Yeah, here I am in HR, in the branch, reporting to HQ from my home in BC. And, the opportunities, right, that you get is so big. Like, that's why I stayed here. Because I knew that even though I don't have the experience, I don't have the education background. Mind you, I also went to, I went back to school to get my diploma in accounting.
Am I pursuing accounting right now? No, I'm not. I wanted to do CPA, but no, I'm not gonna. But I know I have it. But do I need it to get more opportunities? No, I don't. So the flexibility of it, and I can relate to what Mawad was saying, you know, the flexibility, the work-life balance, the flexibility of working from home, or the flexibility of working from, you know, from one coast to the other. Like if I were to move to Atlantic today, I would still be reporting virtually because that's just the beauty of things that we can offer, or the CRA offers actually. So yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, I got involved with the support that I got, you know, like I said, I got involved with the Young Professionals Network, and that's how I got to know about the Federal Youth Network, because I attended their career boot camps. And then I got involved into the CRA Connections, which is the biggest annual event that we have in CRA for where the EXs are the mentors. And right now I am the manager of it. So doing that, and then I got to know about the Leaders GC group on Twitter. So giving back, right? I'm the person who likes to give back as well as learn at the same time. So it gives you that flexibility to do what you love, plus to learn from it, right? Does the education matter? Yes, it does. Like if you want to go into accounting, or if you want to go into audit, if you want to go into like shaman, like CSO2, right? It's there. But is it mandatory? No. You can learn from it. You can learn the job. You can learn the job. But as long as you know where you want to be. Do I know where I want to be yet? No. It's what, my 7th year here. Do I know where I want to be? No, I'm still learning. I still want to explore. I want to keep on exploring. And that's what CRA gives. Does that sum it up?
That's fantastic. Merci. Thank you so much, Brenna. Like there's a comment in the chat. Thanks for your transparency and your openness for sure to all of our panelists with your introductions. There's one more question to ask. I'm going to ask Nadia, and then we're going to go to the Q&A part of it all. There are some questions in about HR. So Nadia, with your background in HR, your expertise in the subject matter, what skills and competencies are most valued at the CRA in terms of HR?
You know, it's a very good question, Juliana. I think whether you've been in the agency for 30 years or whether you're a newcomer, I think each skill is going to be unique to the position that you bring in, because it represents who you are. But keeping in mind, each job has its skill set that's required as well. Like I can't say one specific skill will be a blanket for every position. But in my career journey, I have really identified two that I think it stood out to me. One, communication. I think having a strong communication and how you communicate with anyone, whether you are at the lowest entry level or whether you're an executive, that is a key, how you communicate with each other with respect, transparency, honesty, and how the other person, the receiver, receives that level of communication. I used to work in the call center like Mamadou and a lot of like other my colleagues here. And it's really important when we were dealing with taxpayers, what is the communication? Because there's sometimes in those messages, individuals are going through some hardships or some challenges. And even amongst your colleagues, you know, individuals will have a really good day, a really bad day. So for me, communication has been a key to success. I think being cognizant of the choice of words that you're saying, because at the end, people will always remember how you made them feel versus what you said, right? So I've always followed that rule. I've been very cognizant of the choices of words that I've made. Have I made mistakes? Sure. Have I learned from them? Absolutely. Am I going to make mistakes in the future? Most likely. But I think if someone has to look at skills, I think it's communication is one. And the second one, I think it's really come to surface now more so, is empathy. I think having empathy and recognizing where you want to deliver empathy. because not in every aspect of your career you're going to require to deliver empathy, but being cognizant on what that empathy looks like, whether you're a manager. As a manager, I'm dealing with employees on a regular basis. Even when I was an advisor, I was dealing with candidates and I was dealing with internal board members. And when I was a call center agent, I was dealing with taxpayers and my colleagues on the foresight. How do I deliver empathy? And empathy is an important element, I think. And all of us, it's a behavior I think we all can instill and really foster. So for me, I think those two have really stood out in my career. And I think without those two, I don't know if you can really advance in your career. I think you really need those two. So those are the two that stood out to me. Let's see, sorry. So what about you, Juliana?
Yeah, all good there. Thank you so much for that great, those very important competencies and skills to have. And to further emphasize, empathy is a huge thing at the CRA. We talk about it all the time. It's what leads us and how we work so well. As Shyam said, he's had only good experiences, so have I. Everyone's very empathetic and wears their heart in their sleeve for sure, while serving our taxpayers. So we're actually going to move on now to our Q&A period. I see there's lots of questions in the chat. Donc, comme Nadia a dit, nous allons passer aux questions du public. Vous pouvez maintenant poser vos questions. N'oubliez pas que vous pouvez voter pour les questions que vous aimez en utilisant le thumbs up. Nous alternerons les questions entre l'anglais et le français quand cela est possible. So, I know Jen had said it before too, but we're going to do the Q&A. So thumbs up on the questions if you want. The more thumbs up, the higher up they go for us to answer in the Q&A option down below. So I will be moderating this section of the questions. So I'm going to open up the Q&A now and see. I've been kind of monitoring what's been going on here. The question I see with the most thumbs up so far, there's 12, are there any EC positions at the CRA? I'm actually I'll take that one for the team if you want, because I actually fall under this. So prior to coming to the CRA, I was in the core public sector. So another thing to add, the CRA, we are a public service, so we actually have our own employee agreement. Like we're not the core public service per se, so we have our own agreement. Our pay rates are a bit different, a bit better than the core and whatnot. So I was in the core and EC. The equivalent at the CRA, we are ESs. So we're economics, sociology, sociological, and statistics. That's our name. So instead of an EC, we're an ES. We're actually one of the smallest groups within the CRA in terms of classifications. We're under 500 out of 50,000 employees. Part of that reasoning is our actual policy and work comes out of TBS, which is a bit different the way that works. So our policy units within the CRA are a bit different than a core government service that mandates and works on their own policy as well. But we definitely do have ESs within the agency. So just for an example, like entry level, usually in the core, you'd be an EC2. That translates over to the CRA as like an ES1, given if you look at the pay rates and whatnot. So in the core, you would really never see an EC1 usually. You'd sort of have an EC2. But that's how it works. So we do have ECs, ESs at the CRA for sure. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So we have 10 thumbs up for this question that I will throw over to Mamadou. The question, Mamadou, is what kind of educational background, if any, is needed / expected even to get an entry-level job within the CRA? What kind of prior job experience would be looked at?
I am going to speak from my own experience, and then Nadia is here. You can jump in, Nadia, at any time. I believe it is high school. I have sat on different boards when I was at the call center. To be a clerk or to be a call center agent, which is the SP3 and SP4, you're required to have a high school diploma. So, and as you mentioned earlier, Juliana, there is literally a job at every level. I used to sit at the call center. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a hotel manager background and I actually studied marketing. But I could ask people around me, I had from engineers to the last team leader has an architect background. So that is the CRA, but the minimum requirement usually to get into the agency is high school. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Nadia, do you want to add to that? I'm going to throw a question to you next also about HR.
I do. I would like to add to that, Juliana. I think perfect on Mamadou. Yes, it's a high school. And keeping in mind, not all positions with the agency require a degree. So you can actually move up through a succession plan with a high school diploma. Yes, there are certain positions that are specialized that require specialized education. For example, certain positions in HR, CS like SHAM, certain position will require it, but there are lots of employees in the organization that are currently high up position in management, even with a high school diploma. So just wanted to add that piece.
I'm going to add something quickly also, Juliana, as Nadia was mentioning that within the agency itself, and Shah might just speak to that because I went through it all myself also, took a few courses in accounting. We also have programs within the agency that will allow you to take courses that the agency itself would cover. Obviously, hoping that this is going in alignment with some of the career path that the agency itself is offering. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I know from my own experience with my ES, with the ES position within CRA, you need an undergrad degree or equivalent experience, but most of the ESs have at least an undergrad. But like I said, we're a very, very small part of the CRA. Okay, I will pass it over now. Nadia, I'm going to move to you. There's 9 thumbs up on the next question. So is it possible to work in HR without a background in HR or HR experience, please?
I think it depends. The answer is always going to be it depends. It depends on the position that they are staffing and the need. So I have seen processes where there has been limited experience with HR, like some experience that's required. It could be at any group and level, like an HR assistant, or you could have done a co-op term. And if that's an HR advisory position, so the higher position that you're looking for, then most likely they do require a specific type of experience. But the entry-level positions within HR depends on the needs. I have seen that they're a bit more flexible. So I guess the answer is yes, you could. It depends on the needs at the time when they're posting the posters, what the manager is looking for. But it doesn't hurt to have that experience. It's always an asset. And I know Perna has her hand up, so I'm going to pass it on Perna to, she's made her way to HR as well. And both of us, I don't have a prior HR experience getting into HR, but I have skill sets that was within the CRA that kind of led me. So Perna, to you.
I just want to add that I don't, like I said, I am working in HR. I don't have any HR experience. My job is really very streamlined. I work in a, because I can only talk about myself. So the way it's laid out within the HR and within the agency is that we start with the SPs and then we specialize into, ESs, HRs. Like Nadia said, with the HR, maybe entry levels, you might need a little bit of experience in that skill set. And more, I've seen that you do need the education with the when you're applying for those streamlined positions. Similar with, auditing positions, CS positions, because they're specialized, so you do need that education. I am still in the SB stage. I can say, yes, that I have HR experience because I work for that branch now. But prior to that, in order for me to come in, entry level, like Nadia was saying, you don't. You seriously don't. You just need to have that skill set that is required for the job itself. I deal with, I do branch reporting. So it's a lot of communication, lots of reporting, and it's the higher level. So, and it's not like I needed the HR experience. I didn't.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there are lots of HR questions here for sure that I'm looking through. I do want to correct myself on something I said. I know this is being recorded. I said it that our policy comes from TBS. I should have said that comes to the Department of Finance. in for the CRA, by the way. I fact-checked myself. I was like, I think that sounds wrong. So we're Department of Finance, just so we're clear on that. Okay. There is a question here about, are there opportunities to work in provinces outside of the NCR? I'm wondering if that person can clarify whether you mean like, can you work for the NCR, but in a different province, or are there actual CRA jobs in regions? Because there's two ways of answering that. There are definitely jobs in regions, for sure. Like as we present, there's 4 main regions, as well as our program branches. I can say everyone on our panel today, I think, Nadia, you work for a region, right? But everyone else works for HQ, and we are not in the NCR right now, pretty much. I know Shyam, you are in NCR, but I'm out east, for example, but I work for the National Capital Region, like HQ. And then 2 of our panelists are out west in BC, and they work for the HQ. And that's how it is. That's like grâce à, like, you know, the télétravail, like thanks to like virtual work. I was in Ottawa before, as most of my colleagues, I believe. But it's possible to definitely work in a different province for the HQ, but there's also jobs you can work for in region. So I know like something, for example, if you work for HQ, but you're out west, you're typically on HQ hours in a way, though. Mama, do you know if you want to speak to that or not, or add on to that?
Yeah. Well, just to say that since the pandemic, I personally have been working from Kelowna and then working for HQ. When it comes to aligning necessarily to the HQ hours or to Ottawa hours, being in Kelowna, BC, that's a choice that I made. I wanted to start earlier. So these are always up for discussion with your direct supervisor. Because also, as you mentioned earlier, we do have our collective agreement. We kind of streamline a little bit of the work hours, which is technically from, I think, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. You can have your 8 hours within that. So I tend to start at 7 to finish a little earlier. But yes, there are now a lot more flexibility when it comes to regions working for HQ, or HQ folks actually working for regions. Yeah, absolutely.
Merci beaucoup, Mamadou. So the next question with some thumbs up, Shyam, I'll throw it to you to get you some airtime on here. It's about how to enter the CRA. The attendee had said that, you know, they've heard that majority of us don't have actual experience related to like taxes or what you assume for the CRA. And they want to know how you're able to join the CRA without that dedicated educational experience, as in their experience, if they've had a hard time, you know, entering the CRA, and they want to know, like, in terms of like hiring managers, what they're looking for directly in these roles. So do you have any experience you want to share with that, or how to encourage them or pass like that?
Sure. In my experience, and I think broadly for CS positions, I would say that your best way in is through an educational institute. Getting into the CRA is dead easy if you're in a program that will advance your career. And it's not about age in any sense of the word. Like, you can be a student at any age. I'm a firm believer in continuous development. And I believe that being a student really gets you kind of in the door. Like I said, my background was in CS. I have a bachelor's in computer science, and I was brought in to do tax adjustments, right? In as small a town as Sudbury, Ontario, right? It very much, you know, when you get in, the position that you get on entry does not necessitate the rest of your career. Just a small little story about that. Like, when I say that I applied kind of as a joke, similar to Prerna's experience, that I just discounted it off the bat. I applied, forgot about it, got invited to an assessment. And the day of the assessment, I didn't realize that I had a midterm on that same day. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the city of Sudbury, the CRA building is in the opposite end of the city compared to where the university is. So what I ended up having to do was go to the CRA, write my English language test, go back to the university, write my midterm, and then go back to the CRA and do my situational judgment test. Now, I passed 2 exams that day. I'm sure you guys can guess which ones. All that to say that those exams that I took at the CRA, they are still valid for any position that I would want to apply to today. And in that sort of continuation, getting your foot in the door, it really becomes way easier if you're a student. That would be my biggest reflection. What do you think, Nadia? How'd I do?
Excellent, Sham. I think that, that's your journey, and that's how you started. And like you, I started as a student as well. The agency is growing substantially. I think all of us can agree to that. And being in HR, I can tell you the work is constantly keeping me busy. And the positions for those of you that are not taking the student reel and want to apply externally, there's going to be posters. There are posters constantly that are on there. If you have the careers site, the only thing you have to do is set reminders, and it will spit out reminders to you that these positions are coming or they're active right now and you can apply. And like majority of the panelists here, they've said, little to no experience. Sometimes you'll see that says no experience. All you have to do is upload your application, and there will be a level of assessments because they have to differentiate from candidates. And sometimes if they have a large need, they might not even. So there is, for those of you that are interested, I can assure you there will be lots of opportunities, if not yet, for those that are trying to enter the realms of the CRA. And those that are looking for professional level positions, like getting into higher level positions, are those taking place? Absolutely. We recently has a lot of those that are interested in the AU, the tax side, AU, we constantly post AU3 positions regularly because we never have enough bodies for those positions. We're just going to be posting new ones. Every year, you'll see them in the regions and national processes. Now, being part of the national dedicated staffing team facing external, we are doing a lot of audit processes. We're also doing non-audit processes. HR is also an area that's growing. CS, ITB, that's an area that's constantly looking. There's SP positions. Recently, I've even seen EX positions. Right? We have seen EX positions that are recruiting from external. So there's lots of opportunities. Keep your eyes open. We do normally post them on the careers website. And if anybody has any specific questions, you're more than welcome to, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to address them offline as well.
Thank you for those answers to that question. And I'll answer just one question that feeds right into this. Someone had asked, what is the most common classification within the CRA? So the most common classification as of June, with over almost 23,000 employees, over half of our employee base, they're the SP level of what we do. That's the most common right now. So over half of our employee base does that. I don't know. I know, Mamadou, you had worked as your job is an SP right now. Do you want to quickly summarize what an SP does? I know it's a very diverse role, yes, very general. Maybe a quick intro with some things that we could expect, because it is different than an ESEC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a term that I had earlier in English when it comes to transferable skill is what I'm looking for. For the person who's having a hard time applying for CRA job, you have to remember, when I started as an SP4 at the call center, I've never done anything in taxes, but mainly some of the things that they were looking for were customer service skills, which you would acquire at any McDonald's, at any different areas, the flower shop, you always deliver customer service. So always remember that. And as Nadia mentioned, we all here, you can find us, but you'll just looking up on LinkedIn and you'll find us, and you can contact us directly for any sort of unless you want to. The SP is a larger group at the agency because it goes from SP3 till 8 till 10. And they require a variety of set skills and different most, if not all of the regions and branches would have some SP stream. So that could be, and that's the way I looked at it when I was looking for a job, was sometimes you have to get your foot in the door, because within the agency itself, there's a lot more opportunity and than you see advertised outside. So sometimes you get your foot in the door, and the progression, like Nadia mentioned, there are tons of opportunities. And I think one thing that I would like to go over also is, I'm actually looking for the term for it also, when you're actually transferring from one government body to another one, the CRA that offer that opportunity also. Can Nadia help me here? When
Interchange?
Interchange. So that opportunity is there also for anybody who's already probably working with another government body and want to join the CRA, it's been as an SP or the different areas that you're looking at also. So transferable skills. Just remember that.
Parfait. Merci beaucoup, Mamadou, pour cette réponse-là. Donc, on va passer à notre dernière question avant la fin du séance. Donc, je vais tourner à Perna. There's a question directly for you, pour toi. Do you provide an example of an entry-level HR role? Please. Do you have an idea?
Like I was saying, the entry levels in any department branch, they start at SPs. And I think Nadia would be, because she's been in the HR for long, she would be the best to answer that. But like I said, in the branch level, SP is an entry level position for HR. It is higher than, so I started at SP4 in collections. I am an SP7 right now with HR. I can go up to SP8, SP9, and SP10, I believe. However, if I do want to, specialize into it, it's specialized majority, like, handling HR files, handling more specific to HR, I would have to go into the HR stream, which is more, so that is, HR1 might be also considered a entry level, but it might require some education and skill set already present, like, that you need from the HR. And I think Nadia would be best to respond to that than I would. So yeah, I'll pass it on to Nadia.
No, I think you're great, Perna, and you're right. I think the SP positions would, like, if it's an entry level, what we call them, it's not always the case, but HR assistants. That's what they're assisting the advisors and managers, and they're an SP position. However, recently I have seen HR2s, HR3s, and even HR4s external processes. And HR2s are developmental. So it's an opportunity for individuals to enter the organization with minimal experience, whether external or internal, and develop them internally to potentially the highest level, which is an HR4, and eventually to an HR5, and an HR6, which is a management, and HR7, which is the AD, assistant director. So can you see entry-level positions in HR? Absolutely. I think you can see them from an SP all the way potentially to an HR4. It would be like Perna said, depending on the skill set and the experience that they require. SP would be probably the lowest position to kind of get the foot in the door. So that, yeah, to answer, I'm hoping that answers the question with what you were asking, Juliana.
Absolutely. Thanks for the HR help there in terms of that question. So we are drawing to an end here. I just want to ask the panelists if there's anything else they'd like to share about the CRA overall. Perna's hand is up over, si tu veux en français, English, what you've enjoyed about the CRA. Merci. Allez-y.
So what I've enjoyed about the CRA, I think I've said it before, the culture is great. Everybody is supportive. Everybody is, wanting to grow, and like the managers will be supportive. The senior leaders are supportive, because it is like I said, I'm very transparent, because it is a very big agency. There are going to be difficult people, different personalities that you have to, interact with. but it doesn't stop there. You know what I mean? The learning, the growth doesn't stop there. So if somebody has, if you join CRA, not having a good experience just because you've dealt, you've encountered different personalities that you're not usually used to, that's fine. It's fine. There are, things in place, just that like informal conflict resolution that the agency has that you can utilize to overcome those differences. The one thing though that I would like to say is the jobs. I think there was a question in there about networking, and I'd like to address that. My job with HR was networking. It is highly, highly networking. I am not gonna lie that. Was there a job posting out there? No, it was networking. Within the agency, within any federal agency, I feel, not just within CRA, but any federal agency, networking is the key. You want your name out there. There's 50,000 employees within CRA. You want your name out there. And that's with any shared services, TBS, big agencies. Networking is the key. I'm here because I network. Mamadou, I know because of networking. Nazia, I know because of networking. Juliana, because I know, because of networking. Jen, Josh, this is all networking. This is not something, I applied for a position, I got it. No, this is just networking. You need to network because you want to take charge of your own career. You cannot, yes, there will be managers that are going to be supportive, but you have to take that first step. You need to let the managers, you need to let people know, hey, I'm out there. I want something more. I want to learn. And that's the skill set that you need. So, and to be honest, that I'm happy where I am for now. Don't tell my managers that, but I think she also knows that after a few years, when when my learning has done, I will move on. And that's the first thing that she told me, that, listen, I know this is temporary for you because that's how the person you are, but I think this is a great opportunity for you and you should take it. And that's why I took it.
Wow, well, there we go. Thank you so much for what a way to close. Donc, au nom du réseau des jeunes professionnels de l'ARC, je souhaiterais remercier toutes les personnes présentes pour votre temps et nos panélistes, Jayam, Mamadou, Prana et Nadia aussi, et ma co-animatrice pour avoir fait part de vos connaissances, expériences avec nous aujourd'hui. Et aussi, merci beaucoup au réseau des jeunes fonctionnaires fédéraux pour cette opportunité. Et assurez-vous de vous inscrire au prochain événement du réseau des jeunes fonctionnaires. Right on. So thank you all so much, very much for attending today. We want to thank all the panelists, my co-facilitator, as well as Finn for welcoming us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure to share the CRA. And hopefully we've all enlightened you on the CRA that we're more than just taxes. That's an important part, but we've a vast majority of a lot of lifers here at the CRA. Donc, je vais passer la parole maintenant à Jen. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks so much, Juliana. Thank you to all the panelists for sharing your passion about something that I wasn't sure there'd be too much passion behind. So thank you so much for sharing your passion about CRA. Before I do the closing remarks, I just want to add on to something that Prerna just mentioned about networking. It's part of the Federal Youth Network's mandate, as far as all other YPNs as well, to try to find opportunities for you to network. So if you check out social media or find a friend who's active on GC social media somewhere, you'll see that there are some networking mixers coming up later on this month that you can sign up for to go in person. We also offer opportunities for you to network virtually if that's something that you're interested in. So please take those opportunities, reach out to any of us if you want to know where public servants are hanging out and meeting. Prerna, do you have your hand up? Go ahead.
I'm going to throw a pitch out there. So if my CRA employees are all here, we have a CRA connections coming up, networking, people, networking. And you get a chance to meet with EXs, not just managers, not just team leaders, EXs. We are looking into getting other governmental EXs as well to get their perspective. We have done it before. We will be doing it now. Do it. You know, if
and
you're
as well in the fall, there's Mega
Yes.
Connects, which is open to all departments. So that's another opportunity that's out there. So there are lots of opportunities to network. Follow your youth networks, your YPNs, your young professional networks, the Federal Youth Network, and try to find ways to get connected. I'm hoping that you're learning a lot of things throughout this showcase. So thank you so much to CRA for telling us what happens at CRA and why we may want to go work there. Don't forget to join us next week. We'll be talking about Indigenous Services and CERNAC. We always call it CERNAC. Most of us don't know what it stands for. It is Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Canada. En français, la semaine prochaine, on va avoir les services aux Autochtones Canada et aussi les relations couronnes autochtones et affaires du Nord Canada. So we're going to take their acronyms, we're going to hear about what they do, and we're going to learn if that's maybe something that we want to explore in our careers. Merci d'avoir assisté aujourd'hui. As a reminder, you can find all the resources from the showcase along with recordings from previous sessions on the FinWiki page. The links will be posted, links that we've posted in the chat are also available. So be sure to check back as early as tomorrow for the recording of today's session if there's anything that you want to follow up on. N'oubliez pas de nous joindre à nous la semaine prochaine et aussi pour vous faire rappeler que les ressources ainsi que les enregistrements seront sur notre page wiki. So hopefully we'll see you all next week, and hopefully by next week you won't all be working for CRA. Thank you so much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Merci, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Ce n'est que de l'eau, ce n'est que de l'eau, camarade. Ce n'est que de l'eau, ce n'est que de l'eau, camarade. Si j'embrasse le ciel de pied dans le vide, pleure du vin orange, doigt de la camomille. All you need is love, faut qu'Harry me dise I see him when I'm sur mon beau grand bateau. Garde mes yeux ouverts quand il pleut des dollars. Comme tout bon jeune berceau, je fuis dans le sud pour ne pas perdre le nord.